All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Dedicated to the Craft. This week, we're talking quality. I'm bringing on Lauren and Matt from our quality team, and then we're going to bring Chuy back on so that we can talk a little beer pairing. He has another recipe for you all to try at home. So let's crack open a beer and let's get this thing started. So it's about that time where we brought in our good friend Lauren, who is the VP of Quality at Ballast Point Brewing Company, and Matt, who is a field quality manager. So we're going to have a little chit chat with them about how to get the job done. So let's get dedicated to the quality.
Love that sound.
It's so nice. It's like Om. It's like Om for boozers. It's a beautiful sound, and to tell you the truth, I can hear it like miles away.
Yeah, like
It's just like, all right, what was that? Yeah, it's like a bat signal.
Yeah, there's a cat. There's a can.
How's it going? How are you doing? It's so good to see you.
You too.
What
Doing
are you
great.
sipping on,
Got a
Lauren?
beer, chatting with you guys, so couldn't be happier.
Hey, that's what it's all about. That's what this show is all about. Matt, what are you sipping on?
A little Grunion.
Ooh, good call.
There it is.
Very nice. Well, I just
the other pale ale that we might be talking about later.
Oh, we're gonna get into it for sure. We have to talk about Grunion. There's a few beers on our list that, you know, besides Sculpin, that you can't really have a good conversation about Ballast Point if you don't mention those particular beers. And what I just cracked open was a little Aloha Sculpin, which I thought was going to be a good little beer to chit chat about, considering what you do. And we'll get into that as soon as I pour this beautiful, tropical, citrusy, hazy version of our flagship Sculpin. Damn, that was a horrible pour. Look at that.
Quality?
The aroma. I wanted that much more aroma. Well, hey, listen, thank you for being on the show. I'm really excited to talk to you about, because quality is the name of the game. And I want everybody to get to know you a little bit better. So Lauren, you're the VP of Quality. I've known you for a long time. You're one of the first faces that I saw when I started working at Ballast Point back in 2012. I'll never forget that. And you're a bona fide badass. You're a bona fide badass. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started in the craft beer industry? What brought you here?
Well, that title is new to me, but thanks. Yeah, I remember meeting you too back in 2012. It's been about 7.5 years. Yeah, honestly, I stumbled upon this industry by luck. I have kind of one of those origin stories that I think a lot of people in the industry have, that I was a college kid just trying to learn as much as I could about craft beer. Once I had my first sip, I learned that there's so much variation possible, and it was so beautiful how many flavors could be created. So I went to school back up at UC Berkeley, and then when I was done with school, moved back down to San Diego, where I was born and raised. And really, I was just looking for a volunteer position or an internship, unpaid, what have you, at any brewery that would take me. Obviously, Ballast Point was top of my list because they had such a great reputation. But I emailed the president at the time. He brought me in for an interview, and he brought me on basically as a paid intern. And I got to learn the ropes at Ballast Point, and that turned into a full-time job. And that was back when our lab team was a team of one. And I got to really just grow and learn with Ballast Point as we continued to grow exponentially during that time. And the industry was booming, and the team is and has always been just so amazing, just full of such a great energy. It's been an amazing ride.
So you went to Berkeley, where were people wearing shoes, or had people started putting shoes on at the time when you were in school? I know there's a lot of
maybe 50-50 by then.
A lot of hacky sacks and hemp. So that's pretty cool. And you are a dive master? Is that a rumor that I heard?
That is true. That is the thing that I do. I love to scuba dive. Being from San Diego, it's been you grow up by the water. Even if you live inland, if you tell people you're from San Diego, they automatically assume that you surf. And I don't, but I still love the water and love the creatures underneath it. And it's amazing. It's an adventure every single time.
I actually knew you were a dive master, and that's why I called you a bona fide badass. Matt, what's up? Look at that. Look at your hair. I love your hair. How are you, my friend? Why don't you tell us a little bit? Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got involved in Ballast Point? A little bit about you and what the focus has been on your end of things for the last few years.
Right. So somewhat similar in terms of happy accident, like Lauren mentioned just now. My background is biology and biochemistry and biotechnology. And for a while through college and after college, I was working at various different academic labs and also biotech companies in San Diego, and doing all the biology research and development, different parts of human disease and potential therapeutics and medicines that we were doing. And I really, really did not like it. It wasn't for me. Every time I was either on the bench in the lab of the biotech company or on my computer at the biotech company, I was, distracted or fantasizing about beer and home brewing, and one day being able to work for a brewery that actually loved. And like many people, I'm sure, you write a little resume and you think that you've got all the beer skills possible after making 2 batches of homebrew, and you send it to the world. And crickets came back for quite a while. But I did enroll in the UCSD brewing program, the UC San Diego Brewing Program Extension. And that really helped quite a bit. I was among the first cohorts that program when it launched 5-6 years ago, I guess. And that I was able to meet quite a few people, including Lauren, actually, in the program, and others as well. And from there, I found out about an opening at Ballast Point and applied right away. And probably to the chagrin of Lauren and others, they said, "Yeah, we'll give you a chance."
Yeah, why not?
And, not true. There's no chagrin involved.
And so I started. I wasn't the first, but I was among the first few lab folks at Ballast Point back in 2013, I guess, technically. And then about a year and a half of doing that, both at our Scripps Ranch production facility when we had that, and then our Miramar facility, which we are currently at as our main production facility, doing the day-to-day quality control in the lab and interacting with brewing and cellar and everything that goes into producing consistent, high-quality batches of beer every single day of the week. And then we were 24/7 operation because we just were, like Lauren said, growing exponentially, and just needed to make sure that as sales were growing, here's my hand signals, that quality is right behind it, if not ahead of the sales. And so that essentially meant we need to learn everything that we possibly can about our beer, and not because we are just nerdy scientists, but it's because we want to figure out ways to make consistent batches of beer that taste like they should every single time. So quality consistency was the name of the game. And about a year and a half of helping out in the lab, I was asking all these annoying questions to whomever was willing to listen. What happens to our beer after it leaves the brewery? Where does it go? What happens if it doesn't taste like it does? Is it stored properly? Is it rotated? And all these things that I was asking, and everyone just said, "Matt, you need to calm down, probably shut up." And and I think it was Lauren and a couple others that said, "Matt, if you really do care about this, why don't you write it down and like write a journal or something?" And so I wrote this proposal and said that we need a field quality program. Like we need it. Like we
awesome.
Need to learn about what's going on with our beer after it leaves the brewery. And that was about 5 years ago. And ever since, I've been helping to run our field quality program. And in the new era of Ballast Point in April of 2020, we are among all the craziness that's happening in the world right now. We are expanding our program and looking to do even more with field quality and quality as a whole. So 5 years into this, and looking to do field quality for Ballast Point for at least another 5+ years.
I just want to jump in there. I think you can tell that Matt's humor is just slightly on the in the realm of self-deprecation. Our quality program has really been historically designed over several pillars. We care about fermentation, we care about packaging analysis, we care about microbiology, sensory, all these things. But Matt really saw a need to expand our program to add an entirely new pillar of field quality. And he saw this need and really pursued it and helped really just generate this program that not only was something that proved extremely beneficial to our brewery and our quality, but was also just through and through 100% of the time tried and true, dedicated to the values that Ballast Point has and has always had, which is just being dedicated to education, to the craft, whatever that entails to you. So I think, Matt, you deserve a little bit more credit for designing this program, and it's still alive and well today, and it's still growing.
A bunch more credit, Matt. How dare you? And you know what? What's funny about your particular gig, Matt, in the journey of beer, as for when it leaves our facility, that there's a lot of other things that can go wrong. And that's where Matt comes into play, where you're out there making sure that what's in people's hands, what people are ordering, that is what we want it to taste like. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's a good point. And to that point is even myself a few years ago, there's so much I did not know about beer distribution, beer sales, and the 3-tier system in general. And after learning all that, and just like our internal quality program, and learning more about our beer, our ingredients, and our processes, we had to do the same for the field, for the external. So once the beer leaves the brewery, what actually happens to it, and learn everything we possibly can, so that find the parts that we actually can control, make some standards and some checklists, and then adhere to them. Not just for us, but then use education as our pillar, as our tool to help make improvements throughout the 3-tier system. So once beer leaves the brewery, it goes on a refrigerated truck to a distributor. It goes to the warehouse, and we make sure that we're good business partners with our distributors, and we've got the right beer and the right amount, and the in code and rotated and perfect and everything which way at the distributor. Then it gets delivered to retail, and we do more checks there. But ultimately, it's not to just audit and survey and get people in trouble because you're not Ballast Point quality. It's not.
You look mean though, so you're
a
good guy to do it. Just to walk in there and be like, "Hey."
That's usually the reaction I get. Is, "Oh man, you're so mean. You're so intimidating, Matt."
Oh well, for anybody
hair that you have.
Oh no, it's beautiful. I'm telling you.
But that's the idea: is to use education and to train folks about the mystery that I think is out there in terms of distribution in general, and the fact that there's so many steps and so many people involved with beer distribution that it requires a constant training and reminders of what it is that we want as a brewery to so that a customer is able to get that wherever they live around the country, whether it's San Diego or New York City or around the world if possible. Is the idea is follow the beer and make improvements along the way, and then be open to feedback so that we can understand what's happening to our beer everywhere and make improvements along those lines as well.
So to any bar owner or any front of the house beer tender, what would you suggest are some of the best practices for, let's say, draft line maintenance to ensure that our product is tasting the way it's supposed to be tasting?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think the common misnomer or misconception that I get even from my own family is that all I do is go to bars and drink beer for a living. And while sensory is an important part of the job, that is not all that I do. But when it does come to draft quality, so beer being poured through a draft system, like a keg on tap, for example, which we call on-premise, there's a lot that goes into that, and a lot of possibilities of things going wrong. So keep your beer cold, make sure it's fresh, check our date codes on our keg collars. We have the package on date, just like on the bottom of cans, and
look at that.
And bottles. We have our date code on there as well. Keep it cold, keep it fresh, keep it rotated. For draft specifically, there's so much that goes into it. So there is a draft beer quality manual from the Brewers Association that I'm plugging right now, and everyone should go to draftquality.org. That's DRAUGHT, quality.org. Fancy. And there is a plethora of free information on there, including the draft quality manual that dives into everything you need to know about cleaning lines, cleaning couplers, so the thing that attach to the kegs, cleaning the faucets, the thing that actually pours the beer right before into the glass, keeping your glass beer clean, and then what kind of maintenance and system checks you need to be doing regularly. And right now, with essentially on-premise and bars and restaurants essentially temporarily closed,
a lot of time to clean.
A lot of time to clean, a lot of deep cleaning. And the cool thing about it is that if you are an owner of a bar or you have your favorite local tasting room nearby, is that these folks are, they've got some materials and some information to know what to do when green lights go back on. You can clean and get that beer to pour through and taste like it should.
Very cool. And we'll put that in the show notes too, that link, so that everybody can go in there and get their draft maintenance on. Dude, you're doing good work out there, man, and you're integral to this whole system. Lauren, you've done a lot of work to build this quality program to what it is now, and I think we are at world class when it comes to the systems that we have set in place to make sure the beer's being packaged and served the best way possible. One of the things that I wanted to ask you, that maybe some people are neither here nor there about it, they haven't really maybe even given thought to putting up a lab or starting a quality team at their brewers. Let's talk a little bit about why it's important to have a good quality program set in place in the first place. Like, why does it matter?
Well, there's a lot of different definitions of quality that mean different things to different people and different breweries. But at the end of the day, you are pouring your passion and your heart into making a beer, into formulating a recipe, filtering it whichever way you want, packaging it however way you want. And you are making something that you're really proud of. So you should also, as part of that pride, really want to make sure that the next time you make something like that, or you make that same brand, it should taste the exact same. And it extends out larger than the pride that you have in your own work and your own product. It's what customers have come to expect. So you can look at quality in terms of, here's this brand of beer that I have made as the brewmaster or what have you, and I need it to taste exactly the way that I expect it to. There's also kind of the other side of that spectrum where it's the same scenario, but it's the customers. The customers need to consistently, every single time that they reach for this beer, order this beer, this brand, it should taste the same way every single time. And really the only way that you can do that is to focus on quality. Then it doesn't really matter if your beer has won a gold medal at some kind of competition. If you can't make sure that that beer tastes like the medal winning beer every single time that you make it in the future.
Right. No, I think that's perfect. A perfect outlook onto why it matters. And it's a little, it kind of leads or lends itself to answer the question that was coming from a lot of people. Ballast Point has had a weird roller coaster ride as far as our history is concerned. And one of the things that everybody was shouting at the top of the hill, right? Everybody wanted to get on their soapbox and talk about the quality. Like, we think it's changed, or that doesn't taste the same, or what happened to the quality? I mean, you can take you can go down the rabbit hole on the comment section, and I have. Quality is always this thing. It's always this thing, like, where's the quality? Where's the quality? What would you and Matt say to anybody that is curious as to if we've diminished in our quality?
Yeah, so I have kind of restrained myself from going down the rabbit hole completely, but definitely have heard those claims that, through our various ownership phases. Quality has been a roller coaster, as you said, or has gone down. As someone who has known exactly what our recipes are, exactly what ingredients go into our beers, exactly who is making those beers and making sure that they're high quality, I can tell you that our quality has never diminished. If anything, we've had the blessing of time to learn how to actually improve our quality. We've had more resources over the time. We have a team of just amazing, brilliant scientists that are way smarter than I am, that if you just give them time and resources, they will figure out really innovative, amazing ways to make our beer more consistent every single time that a customer has it. So I would actually say that our quality has increased or gotten better. Because of the team that's responsible for making it.
You know, at these beer dinners, it's just one of those funny things to bring up because everybody gets a chuckle when I tell them, actually, it's actually been the most consistent that it's ever been. And then everybody just kind of gets buzzed and forgets about it, and we all have a good time.
Well, the cool thing about that, Jeff, is that in terms of consistency alone, and that if that's the one earmark of quality, then that's a big one, right? And there's been a few bars, even here in San Diego, that with all the options available and all the variety out there and the constant changing door of new beers coming their way, a bar manager will come to me and say, hey, like I tried X, Y, Z beers as a one-off, but it just wasn't trustworthy enough. And I needed something that I can trust. I didn't have to worry about. And, you know, maybe it's a bit more expensive, but they had to put Sculpin or Grapefruit Sculpin on or Aloha Sculpin on because they're like, I need something that I don't need to worry about. It's comforting to know that, especially now when folks are stocking up on groceries and packaged beer for their fridges at home, that we're going for something that we actually trust and we don't have to worry about. It's not a time to take risks right now. It's not a time to take chances. It's like, all right, what do I know? All right, I Ballast Point see it. All right, great. Whatever. Just put it in my shopping cart and I got to get out of here. All right, let's go.
You want to get in and out, and you're reaching for that brand that you know it's tested, tried, and proven, and just know that you can choose whatever you want, but we have a system set in place that makes us feel really comfortable about you purchasing our product. And then you can take that product and then you can go home and you can go online and you can look at a recipe that you want to pair that beer with. And with that, I think it's going to be a good time to bring on Chuy, our sous chef, who has devised and written up a nice recipe for everyone listening and everyone at home to get down on. So let's go ahead and bring on Chuy. Chuy,
hey guys, how you guys doing?
Carnal? How are you doing?
Great.
What's up, Chuy?
Yeah, Chuy.
Hey, Lauren. How's everybody?
Cheers.
Solid, baby. Solid.
It's quite the chalice you have there.
There we go.
I'm jealous.
What are you, a prince? Jesus.
A little bit.
Well, Chuy, I was just telling Matt and Lauren about, when we do our beer pairings and we set up these beer dinners, it's really nice to know that our beer is always consistent and it's always, it's going to be exactly what we expected when it hits our guests' mouths, and that's something that you and me both feel really relieved. And when we make a pairing, we're not accidentally pouring something that's out of spec or anything like that. So that's where Lauren, Matt, and their team come into the game and really make our jobs a little easier when we're trying to do these cool, elaborate beer dinners. But because we can't do them right now, we're really not supposed to be getting together. We are going to go into a segment where we bring beer dinners to you, the listeners. And the general idea behind the beer suggestions and the food, the entree suggestions, is not only if they pair well, but what can people do at home right now and not really have to run out to the grocery store and put themselves in any sort of in a compromising environment. Maybe you have most of this in your kitchen already. So, Chuy, we're pairing it with the Swinging Friars Ale, the official beer of the San Diego Padres, which is pretty rad.
Hi everybody. So yeah, today we're gonna put together a recipe, simple recipe. What we're trying to do here is, using ingredients that we have at home. Like I said last time, something easy, specifically for this beer. The Friars. It's really like a
Swinging
chicken is
Fires
amazing.
Ale. All right.
Exactly, man. So the beer is we have a lot of room to work with it because it has like it's so rich on the flavors. So specifically the chicken, the grilled chicken, the chart of the chicken gives a nice flavor in it. So adding the chipotle, all the little spices that we use, everybody is gonna have those spices at home. I'm pretty sure everybody has those spices, really simple things, like cumin, paprika, garlic, and stuff like that. So we try to put together like these kind of recipes that we they're gonna be so easy to put it together for everybody. And if just in case you don't have a grill at home, so you can still do it on the pan. Obviously, it's not gonna be the same flavor of the chard from the chicken, but still, it's gonna be amazing. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, so it's a grilled Swinging Friars Ale Chipotle marinated chicken with cheddar baked potatoes.
Exactly, man. So
Oh, dude, Matt, why don't we start with a few flavor notes when it comes to Swinging Friars Ale? What can you tell us about that beer?
Yeah. So Swingin' Friar Ale, even though everyone around the world, I'm assuming, is listening to this podcast, it is only
Everyone.
for San Diego because it is the official beer for the San Diego Padres. They came out to us, approached us, and asked us to make a beer, and we did. And it's a very straightforward but very crushable pale ale, 5.5%, all Pilsner malt, all Simcoe hops. So because of that simplicity, you get a lot of citrus zest, some other pine flavors, but overall it's just a well-balanced, fairly hoppy, but easy drinking pale ale that you can have 20 ounces of if the Padres are winning, and probably 40 ounces of when they do play and they may not win.
Oh yeah, more than 40
August
ounces
or so.
all the time. Yeah. I love this beer. I actually love this as a beer, as a food pairing beer. Although I can drink it on its own and really enjoy it, I think what we did was we struck this beautiful medium. It's catering to the hop heads. They're not disappointed, and it's also in this weird approachable area where if you're just trying to get into the West Coast, or you really maybe not are not too familiar with the West Coast style IPAs, it's not taking you all the way there. It's a nice little teaser. What do you think, Lauren? Do you like this beer?
Yeah, of course. I love this beer. This is definitely one of my go-tos. With the quarantine right now, I'm unfortunately out, but this is pretty much at any time, at any day. If you open my refrigerator, you're going to find this beer. It's really just good for any occasion. I'm not a huge foodie, so I'm super excited to try it with a food pairing. But it's really, I can just have it anytime, honestly, at any hour of the day. But professionally speaking, that's a weekend thing.
Yeah, 8 a.m. 9 a.m. if you.
Let's do noon. Let's do lunchtime.
Yeah, I really love this. I like this rendition of a pale ale. It really speaks West Coast, but really what it does, it speaks Ballast Point. It's one of those things where, in my experience, and I don't know about any of you guys, when you drink this beer, you can pretty much tell that you're drinking a Ballast Point beer. I get that with breweries like Sierra Nevada. I get that with breweries like Firestone. They have their little signature, and I think this beer really showcases our signature really well. Chuy, citrus, we're getting zest, it's nice and hoppy, it's crisp, it's crushable. What flavors are we working with here when it comes to the chipotle chicken?
Well, like I told you before, this beer is amazing and it gives you a lot of room to work with. So items like the chicken, you can add any kind of flavor. Specifically, the chipotle right now is amazing. The garlic, it has a little like ingredient. So altogether, the pairing it comes out like perfectly. It's not even that spicy. So the recipe is for that we display for this event. It's enough for 4 people. So we're planning everything. Every single recipe is going for 4 people. So that's why you're gonna see extra items over here. But what we're trying to do is like just put together food for the whole family.
Yeah. I know. I've noticed that in the way that you've been structuring your recipes, and when we talk about beer pairings, this time specifically about how you want to be feeding your family, you still want to be having fun too. You want to hone your culinary skills, but you also want to be drinking beer and expanding your taste buds that way. One of the things that I like that you're doing, Chuy, with all these is that although we're not going to be incorporating beer into all the recipes, you did incorporate beer into this one, right? There's actual Swinging Friars Ale in the recipe, or suggested.
I did actually. I put some beer on the recipe, so like and the marinated. So I marinated for around like 6 hours today. This morning, I put some beer on it, all the spices all together. So the chicken comes out like super juicy, super tender. So even on the outside, it's like nice and sharp. So it's amazing. The beer, the carbonation of the beer helps into the chicken, so holds the flavor. So pretty good.
Yeah, and then you're gonna follow it up with a nice loaded baked potato, Idaho potato,
Of course.
bacon. What else you got in there? You got bacon, shredded cheese.
Cheddar cheese, bacon. You can be creative. We just try to put some ingredients that we have at home. So like bacon, sour cream, cheddar cheese. But you can also put like loaded with some like ground beef if you want instead of bacon. So you can just like it's limitless. So you can add whatever you want.
There's a lot of flavors here that are going to be complementing each other. There's a lot of flavor components that I can already tell are going to be kind of cut by the bitterness of the beer, the little bit of sweetness coming from the malt profile of the beer, and there's a lot going on here. And one of the things that I love about really kind of paying attention to your senses when you're pairing beer and an entree or a dessert or an appetizer is what you can get out, what gets heightened, because a lot of the things here are going to vanish because of just the natural flavor components of the beer, and some things that you might not notice if you were not drinking anything with it are going to actually come out to play because they get accentuated by muting other flavor components when you start to pair the beer with the dish, right?
Exactly. So yeah, like I told you, Friars, it's amazing beer. It's really sweet. It pairs perfectly with the garlic and the chipotle. The whole recipe. I didn't add that much chipotle sauce, but obviously you can always put some chipotle into the sour cream and add it into the potato. So that's gonna be an extra kick on the flavors. But amazing.
Yeah, what do you guys think? I think this is a perfect, chipotle, chicken, and cheddar baked potatoes. Just you want to pair that with something like Swinging Friars Ale. It just screams like, all right, let's go outside, backyard, and maybe outside means your kitchen at this point, but really kind of start some summertime grilling and stuff like that. It kind of even though you can't be outside, at least you're eating like you would be outside. So this is a really awesome recipe. We're going to post this recipe up for everyone listening. Anybody that follows us on our social media outlets, it will be there for you guys to cut, copy, and try in the vicinity of your own home. Have some fun with it. Get creative. What I've been telling everybody since episode 1, when we did the mac and cheese, is try to cook it at home. Cook it at home, and if you tweak it, let us know. Follow, tag us at Ballast Point Brewing Company on Instagram, Facebook. Just have some fun with it. Chuy, one of the things that I wanted to talk about before we exited this little segment was the great work that you and your team are doing, especially for the employees of Ballast Point as of lately. I know it's been a lot of work, but what you guys have done is you guys have set up a pretty cool program for the employees as far as getting our groceries, right?
Yeah, correct. So like the whole company right now, locations like Long Beach and Miramar, they're putting together this program about like getting groceries from our locations. So they're gonna be our like really cheap because our vendors are in the same situation that we are right now. They're not selling that much items, so they're being really nice with us. So they give us the product literally like food costs, and then we just like bring it to the people, to the team. And it's amazing, man. This is really cheap. You're gonna be able to get like items and with no need to go to the grocery store and maybe get sick out there because it's kind of crazy right now.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, Lauren, have you taken advantage of any of that grocery shopping?
Personally, I have not, but I got to help spread the word and just see people's faces light up when they got to hear about this really cool program. Employees are definitely super appreciative, and a lot of people are taking advantage of it. It's a great thing to do. It's a great thing to support our vendor, our community, and keep our employees safe. How about you, Matt?
No, I have not yet either. But I got to say, between this program that we're doing for Ballast Point employees and some of the other things in the last few weeks, I mean, the month of March was 5 months long, it seemed like, and the amount of things that Ballast Point's doing both internally for our employees and then just externally for the community during this incredible time has been rather impressive, actually. I gotta say, I haven't done the grocery at Miramar yet, but I saw the list. I'm making a short one, so I'll probably do it next round.
I've just been seeing so many people doing some really cool things, and in the name of, just being a good person, being a good Samaritan, being a good company. And Ballast Point and our new leadership has really stepped up to the plate to show us that they care. And that's something that I think that we're going to be able to take away, whenever this ends. But this is going to be for the rest of our lives,
Absolutely. Hey, I gotta not to go back in the other direction, Jeff. I'm sorry.
You can take it any direction you want, man. Look at your hair.
Yeah, it's wavy. It's
gorgeous.
It's podcast hair, apparently.
Yeah. I'm not gonna argue with you.
For a radio. Chuy, I got a question. You're talking about the dish and it, maybe being spicy. For those of us that get a little heavy-handed with our heat levels, what's your how do you think that helps with the pairing of Swing and Friar Ale?
Yeah,
and
actually,
or maybe other IPAs of ours.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, actually, it's not that spicy. You can taste the flavor of the chipotle in this case, but it's not even spicy. That's the option. Is like adding more chipotle, and it's going to be a little more spicy. But this is the great thing about with these recipes. You play around with them, and then you put it together the way you want it. You like spicy, you can add a little bit more, but the whole recipe comes out like perfectly. No, not that spicy. And also the sweetness of the beer, it helps a lot. You don't even notice, but it helps a lot. It's a perfect pairing with the chipotle and the chicken, and although like nice sweet from the Friar's beer.
Yeah, good call. I was eating some habanero ghost pepper dip early today and almost got myself hiccups, and I didn't have a Swing and Friar Ale to calm my.
You're eating ghost peppers, and then you're inquiring about the chipotle. You're like, hey, is this going to be too hot for me?
Yeah.
Like, you're eating ghost peppers, Matt.
You never know. You can get creative at home and add ghost peppers to your chipotle chicken. I don't know, man.
Hey, man, we're Mexican, bro. They wouldn't let me QC the habanero sculpin because I'd be like, it needs a little bit more, and people were just like red in the face, like drinking gallons of milk.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's in our DNA. So yeah, everybody try that at home. Like I said, let us know how it turns out. A couple of other things. A little bit of BP news before we log off. Listen, there's no draft business right now, so we're offering 50% off of select kegs, including Grunion, Fathom, Aloha Sculpin, and Pineapple Sculpin, which, by the way, is one of the finalists in our Bring It Back bracket. Have you guys voted?
Yes, we did.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah, it's getting close. I'm not gonna give anybody any ideas. So we got beer to go at all of our San Diego locations and Long Beach, Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Be sure to call or email ahead with your order, and we'll get it set for curbside pickup. We're doing everything that we can to keep you safe, to keep us safe, to keep everybody safe, but still allow everybody to enjoy the hard work that we're putting into this. All the QC is not being done in vain. People are still able to enjoy some of our beer, going out there and getting it. And if you're not coming to our spot, please go to somebody else's spot. Drink local, even if that's not your MO for the rest of your beer drinking life after this. Right now is definitely a good time to be supporting local restaurants, local breweries. Just go out there and be safe, but go out there and show some love. This was really rad. And before we go, and I say goodbye, we are going to do a yeah dog. Are you prepared for a yeah dog? Does everybody have the proper equipment? It's really just a beer in a glass.
I think I do.
In old school Ballast Point tradition, we are going to send everybody off with a good old beer shot. Yeah, dog. Lauren, Matt, thank you so much. Everything that you guys are doing for the company is, it's what makes us a world-class company. It's really what makes us a world-class brewery. We can't do it without you. Chuy, you're the man, and you're enhancing our beer with your delicious food. So thank you to that. All right, guys?
Cheers.
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 Yeah, dog.